And go.
And go! Hello everyone, welcome to the Spire of Sorcery stream.
Hi there. We're like every time we do the English language stream, we're doing it following the Russian language stream. So you're seeing kind of not so fresh anymore.
But
Following all the
yet again,
yeah.
a version where we've learned our mistakes and we can do things a bit better, isn't it?
Yeah. So in a way, it's like you got better content with less enthusiastic presentation.
Yeah, pretty much.
The effects of coffee we were out within the first stream, and then we're a bit lost in the coffee now. Anyway, to go back to the game today, this video is dedicated to the tutorial of the game and to the very first steps that you will make in the and we're going to present all the main mechanics slowly, one by one, so that it can help you start playing without spending too much time on looking up different. So let's maybe jump into the game.
Let's jump into the game. There we go.
All right. So let's look at our characters on the left side. You see a stack of characters. The first one is your mage, and then you've got 3 starting this. And I think we've got a lady, 2 girls, and is that a guy at the bottom?
Yep.
Loner. All right. So to go from the very first things, like from the most important things, and then down, we have the stats. Every character has stats, and stats of the character define. Just a quick commentary, if you could do something with the scroll of the mouse, because there's a lot of noise coming from there. So we got 6 stats, and the 6 stats are health and intelligence, memory, charisma, willpower, and intuition. And they all range from 0 to 12 to 20. And they define the learning efficient character, meaning that characters are quicker at learning certain skills and slower at learning other skills, depending on their personal preferences and the way that they were born. Below the stats, you can see health points. So health points is basically your health stat multiplied by 40. And whenever events different events to your characters, they will lose or gain HP, health points. And then you've got in the middle, you've got your magic. In this case, this is the mage character. And that's the amount of the energy that the mage or another character use to cast spells and perform rituals. In the case of mage, it's merged with the magic energy of the spire. And then you've got stamina. Can you describe what is stamina?
Stamina basically helps you to perform any kind of event. Yeah, it's the more stamina you have, the more efficient your character is. Basically, it's the energy you use to perform any kind of task. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And as you can see, these are the stats of the mage, yeah? So if we go through the characters, you'll see much lower levels of magic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in this case, this character is a trait weak mage, so that's a substantially lower magic energy pool.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the mage.
So in addition to the stats and health points, magic energy, and stamina, every character has traits, and the traits are split between psychological and physical. The psychological traits define the behavior of characters during events. So let's maybe switch to some of the disciples.
Yeah.
So she's curious and greedy. She's compassionate and curious. And the last one is cautious and curious.
So,
yeah.
oh, we have a greedy character this time.
We do, yeah. So what we have to remember for now is that these traits, they define the behavior, the choices, and the decisions that characters make. And then you've got the other traits that affect different physical stats. In this case, it's nearsight. So the exploration will be not as efficient. Exploration speed is -3 and range of vision is -3. And let's check the other characters for their traits. She's absent-minded, so her efficiency is lowered, and she's clumsy. So when she will use items, for example, read books, she has a higher chance of damaging. And then for the other character, for the last one, he's a weak mage, that's obvious. He's got a magic energy pool, and then he's sharp-sighted. So he's pretty good with the exploration.
Yeah.
Now, the stats define your skills. You've got 11 different skills. The skills, 11 skills, are shown here on the left side. And starting from the top and going down to the bottom, if you could just describe them maybe.
Yeah, we have literacy, which is basically ability to read books. And there are characters that can come with 0 literacy. And they're not able to read any kinds of books. Then we have alchemy, ability to produce alchemical substances and also food. Then we have artificing, ability to produce all sorts of equipment items, etc. Then we have healing, an ability to heal like diseases and poisoning and etc. Then we have herbology, it's the knowledge of the herbs. So basically, these 3 will be knowledges that we have outside this, to explore the world outside the Spire, which is herbology, monstrology, the knowledge of the creatures of the world, and we have geology, the knowledge of all the rocks and crystals in our world. Then we have 5 magical skills. We have fundamental magic, which basically determines your magical energy level. So the higher the level of fundamental magic, the more magic energy you have. Then you have practical magic. So basically the ability to use magic for things like feeding yourself or cleaning up, etc. Then you have travel magic, which helps you with traveling. Then you have social magic, which helps you with communicating with your other disciples, other people, or other non-human species as well. And we have battle magic, which, as the title describes, basically helps you to fight using your magic. So these are our skills, yeah?
And for each skill, you've got learning efficiency and interest. So learning efficiency is in percentage points, and the interest level is those green and red arrows that you can see on the left.
Yeah.
It ranges from let's say from 3. Yep.
From likes, for example, we're talking about positives. We have likes, we have love, and we have adores. Yeah. And it's the same thing with negatives. So right now she dislikes, and we also have hates, and yes, we have one that loathes. So this character, she loathes geology. So and together, yeah.
Whether or not the character likes or dislikes something affects the mood while performing actions relevant to this skill. So if you like geology, enjoy reading a book on geology, hate travel magic, you will hate traveling somewhere or going to explore. Within each skill, there is a subset of proficiencies, which are very specific uses of that skill. So for example, for social magic, that's pedagogy. And for alchemy, that's cooking food, and that's preparing pharmaceuticals. For herbology, that's foraging. For astrology, that's hunting. So there's a bunch of proficiencies that give you a speed bonus and make you more efficient if you specialize in a certain way. Now, we've covered efficiency, we've covered interest level skills, we've covered stats, and now we've covered also traits, the ones that allow characters to make decisions and the ones that influence the physical things. And now, generally, you explore the world through 3 different checks. In trait checks define how you make decisions during events. So if a character is greedy, the character something where he or she thinks that she can gain something. If the character, yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sure. Ouch, guys, something is off with the mic because I can hear some noise there. Yeah, sounds like wire for sure. Sorry, guys, but for a minute we'll try to check the mic and make sure that there's no noise feeding into the.
Okay. I can't hear Sergey right now.
I'm with you.
Okay. I can hear.
So yeah,
Okay, I'm back.
apologies for the temporary break. You're back on a different mic. There was some problem with the mic scratching some surface. It kept happening. And we tried to understand whether or not what is the source of this, and finally we figured out.
Yeah, I got a cool set of headphones now, so I'm good.
Sure. I think just that your volume right now has gone significantly higher, so maybe you want to tune that down a little bit, and then we're cool.
I don't know how, but yeah, I'll try. Okay, you continue talking.
Sure. It's just like very loud now, right? Phone, so I'm not sure what I have to do. And I'm dialed in almost all the way down. So, all right. So we start, and then maybe fix this as we fly. We've covered the stats, the skills, the interest level, efficiency. We've covered traits. We've covered different proficiencies connected to different skills. So as you explore the world, you get 3 kinds of checks. You got the psychological trait checks that define the decisions that the group takes, the skill checks that define the actions that your character succeeds or fails in. So for example, a greedy character will decide to go for something and rob a corpse, and then robbing a corpse, there'll be a check on, let's say, heal to know whether or not the character catches a disease, and then following the skill check, stat check, which defines the scale of the consequences. So in the case that you fail a skill check for robbing a corpse, the stat check, your health, your overall constitution will determine whether or not you just you lose some health points, or maybe you get a disease. So these 3 mechanics work together, and you can influence all those in different ways, through alchemy, through artificing, and through equipment. So let's say having protective gloves will help you pass similar skill checks for robbing the corpse. Having a spell that scares away the animals, pass a skill check related to meeting unknown animals. And let's say the case of alchemy, a smoke bomb will help you pass the check of whether or not you successfully escape the combat. And then let's go character origins.
Yeah.
Could you cover those?
So here we see character origins. see it for the mage as well. You can see where they grew up. You can see who their parents were.
Yeah, in this case, the father was a day laborer.
And this is her basically the story of her growing up. She was a dreamy child, then her first use of a spell, then when she was identified as a mage, and her story of running away basically and escaping from the guild of mages, I presume. So there you go. And each character has this sort of bio and story. A little bit of information that'll help you basically determine. Actually, when you'll start getting new characters, you'll be able to guess their skills even in accordance to what kind of story they have and what their parents did.
All right, so let's jump back to the map.
Yep.
And as you explore the world, you've got two ways of basically controlling the whole thing that happens. You've got that deal with sending people outside of the spire and exploring the world, or foraging, hunting, or doing anything that you want that happens in the outside world. And then you get tasks, and tasks are related to what your characters do in the spire. So that means cooking something or searching something, let's say healing someone, reading something, teaching someone, and so on. And to deal with tasks, you've got a bunch of rooms up there on the icons, so maybe we can go from left. Well, before we jump there, let's also talk about your efficiency and character's mood. So
let's pray for it, and there we go.
Sure.
We have their moods up.
All right. So they're all calm. She's enjoying a good rest, but she's not happy with his favorite skill. He's got a good rest and reading an interesting book, so pretty fine, pretty good there. Yeah. So the mood defines your stats. That means that a character who's in a bad mood is likely to have decreased stat and then maybe fail. Let's say you've got a character who's meeting mushroom eaters, and mushroom eaters agree to trade with you and give you something, and the mood of that character is really low. So the stat charisma of that character goes down, and that defines the result, the outcome of the event. And basically, instead of gifting you a ton of stuff, mushroom eaters will give you just a little bit of some. So mood is important, and you've got a bunch of different ways of keeping your characters, including making sure that they're doing what they like to do. And if everything fails, using alchemy and drinks to temporarily lift their mood for important periods. And then you get character efficiency, of the mood, and character efficiency determines how effectively your character can use the skill. That means that.
No, even here you can see how mood affects probably her efficiency, because she used this favorite skill and her efficiency decreased.
In this case, her efficiency decreased. Trait, which is absent-minded, which gives her +10 permanently.
Okay.
If you hover over absent-minded in the middle of the screen, then you'll see -10 probably.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Sure. So character efficiency means how tired you are, how hungry you are, whether you're in pain, whether you're suffering from something, you're distracted, and that feeds into the success of your action. So if your character efficiency is normal and you have to, let's say, jump over the, then you will perform as intended. If your character efficiency is low, you're in pain, you had a bad night's sleep, and you're trying to perform the same action, you'll be less successful in performing, and maybe you'll even fail it. So character efficiency is an important thing when you travel, and as you will send characters out, you will try to care about their well-being, having a bedroll to sleep in, having protective clothing, maybe having some food that makes them happy, and definitely making certain that if they are in pain, then they can relieve the pain, because otherwise this is the kind of a cyclical loop going down. The character goes down in efficiency, the character starts to fail skill check, gets more damage, gets more pain, gets some bleeding, gets some diseases, gets some poison, and that feeds into the mood, feeds into even lower efficiency, and then eventually that character runs into a group of bandits and is, killed for good. Now, we've spoken about health points and stamina. There's one more thing here: it's carrying capacity, which is on the right side, just above the bedroom. So this determines how much a particular character can carry. We don't use weight, we don't use volume. We use some kind of an inventory point, which is the balancing thing that we use to signify how kind of bulky or heavy or everything together a particular thing is. So different characters will have different carrying capacity. You can increase it by giving them a backpack or an enchanted backpack. There's a bunch of items that can help you with this. And we covered magic energy pool. Now, magic energy pool is used to cast spells and rituals. Some of the spells are fairly simple, which would be relief. Then you'll have battle spells during combat. You'll have protective spells during events and encounters. And generally speaking, characters who are in a good health feed themselves by casting relief hunger. But if they run out of magic, they can hurt themselves. They can start using their own health points to gain magic. So at this point, you would want to cook normal food, proper food, and give that food to the character. Also, you could cook food that restores mood, that improves mood, that restores stamina, that restores health points. So food is a kind of a soft medicine in the game. You can use food to improve the life of your characters if you want to, but you don't have to, unless something is wrong with the characters or they ran out of their magic. And now going to the left, there is an indication of who is doing what. So the mage is reading a book right now. The second character is also reading a book. Then she's eating. And the last character on the list is Red. So this is where you will see the current occupation, whether or not they're performing some task or they may be out on a quest. This is keeping track of what's going on with the character right now. Now, let's go room by room.
Yep.
That's your mage suit, and here you see the indication of the main quest. In the current version of the game, your quest, the main quest that you have to solve, is finding the anomaly, or you can contact the librarian, which is a creature similar to you in the sense that this creature also survives from the old age, locked in some kind of a tower or some kind of a place where it belongs, and then maybe you can get some information from it. It also shows you the current forecast for how long you will live. 3 threat systems in the game right now. There's only which is the curse, and that curse is optional. So with this week's version of the game, you'll be able to switch it on. And you will be able to play without it if you don't want to be rushed. The other 2 systems is the Inquisition that is searching for you and sending parties to the Spire, and then aggressive parties of panzerlings and bandits and adventurers who come knocking on the door. These 2 things, the last 2 things, are not in the game yet. Once they're in the game, probably will take out something which is unnecessary. Question from the chat is whether or not you can use mages in the Spire. At the moment, no. In the concept, yes. There is, you can see a separate list of dead disciples. No one died yet, so we don't really have anyone there. But the idea that dead disciples are also some kind of a resource is pretty appealing. And we think that eventually we'll find a way of using them, whether or not by back to life, somehow modified curses or whatever. We'll see. Haven't figured it out yet, but I think it's happening in the game for sure. Now, outside of this 3 threat level, right now we've got just the timer. Second room is the Halls of Magic. That controls the inflow and outflow of magic energy in the Spire. You can see that the Spire currently generates 100 units every day. If you find magic nodes on the world map, you can take control over them and increase your income every day. You can also find monoliths and idols, which serve like giant accumulators, and then you can receive a huge amount of magic energy at once if you take control over that object. Now here you can see your outcome of outgoing flow of energy. So you have this ritual called Call of the Spire, which is used to attract new disciples.
Yeah.
The way it works is that it accumulates, and then eventually a new person shows up at the gates, and you can accept them or reject.
Yeah, you can set the amount of energy you would like to spend on Call of the Spire. But you should be careful about assigning energy, isn't it? What happens if you use too much magic?
Well, a typical classic case of the mage dying early is someone burning themselves. So that means you can see in the top right corner of the screen, minus 130 current daily balance. And you currently have 530, so that means that after 4 days, you'll be below zero, and your mage will start burning health points to get magic energy. And I would probably say a couple of weeks later, the mage will. Now, the other thing that's happening here on the screen on the right side is that in addition to Call of the Spire, which you use to attract new disciples, you also have Bonds of the Spire, which is this ritual costing you 10 magic energy points per day per person in your Spire. So if you have 10 disciples, then the staying connected to them costs you 100 a day. So that means that if you want to expand, if you want to have a lot of characters, then you'll have to also expand your sources of income of magic energy and have a few magic nodes contributing to a bigger flow of energy. The next room is the library. Now, every skill in the game has a theory and practice, and the way it's designed is to advance, you need a balance of two of these levels. So your practice always is behind the theory. You cannot exceed your theory with practice. Means that, let's say, if you don't know how to perform surgery on rats, you cannot get practical experience in rat surgery. First of all, you have to read about this, and then you have to apply your knowledge. On the other hand, you cannot go too far away with your theoretical knowledge if your practical knowledge is lacking. Let's say I'll read a book on surgery on cats and dogs, elephants, horses, and at a certain moment my memory stops working, and basically I need to go and practice and then build the foundation from which to go further. So in this case, a default difference is 2 levels.
So, for example, in the game right now, we can see Atira, and her knowledge of artificing, her practical knowledge is 2. So she can go further in practical knowledge until she learns a bit of theory, right? Because both are at level 2 right now. And same goes for geology for her and for practical magic.
It's not a hard limit. It doesn't mean that if she will keep practicing artificing, she will not get any experience, but it means that she'll be getting it very slowly and very inefficiently, which is why we decided to show you this exclamation mark and say, you know what, this is not a good use of resource. All right, so we spoke about this and we spoke about that. Now let's talk about the library. Yeah. Library is where you read books or items. Books have durability. What this means is that if several characters read the book and maybe some of them are not careful enough, then they will destroy the book eventually. So book is something that can be finished and damaged and go to There are 5 different levels of books in the game in every skill, and the access to each level is determined by your literacy and in the specific skill. So let's say I would like to read something about healing, and so for level 2 of healing books, I need level 3 of healing skill and level 2
This
of
is where you
literacy
get
skill. Rita?
There you go. We're having some
Yeah.
more technical difficulties, but we're back.
Oh man, it looks like it's the other game. We used to have a game about gremlins who were disrupting things and who hated technology. And this English language stream, we've got everything. We've got scratched
Yes,
microphone, and lost voices this way and that way. Oh, geez,
we told you this stream is gonna be like better, but it's not. Okay, so I'm setting up time for a mage to read his book, so that's 6 hours. And for disciples, you're not able to set times, but you're able to add priority of the tasks. So you see,
And
there's
even
a task reading.
And
Yeah.
even for the mage, like 6 hours that the going to read them for 6 hours, it's relevant to relative to the other tasks. So if you set 10 different tasks each 10 hours, that means that the mage will treat all of them equally. It's the maximum amount of hours that the mage will dig into.
Okay, so that's library. And we also have number of classrooms. Each room will have a number of seats, basically, that people can attend to. And you can upgrade this number by using your magic energy at the moment. So yeah,
If it would be free to play game,
yes, if
then this is like this golden point where we would say, okay, do you want to buy another table for 10,000 gold points? Or you can grind
special.
them in the forest, or you can just buy them, and just today it's 20% off. So
Yes, yeah.
basically every room can be upgraded, and upgrading the room means that you increase the capacity within that room. For library, that's the number of reading desks. For hospital,
Yeah.
beds. For alchemy, again, that's the number of workspaces. For living rooms, that's living quarters, living rooms, disciples, and so on and so on. So your Spire is getting upgraded. Now, since this is a very simple tutorial video, we just need to show you how things work. So when you jump into the game, you say anything.
Yeah.
Reading is great, but reading is limited in the sense that one character can only read one book at a time. You do not assign a specific book. You assign an area. So you can say, I want you to read healing. That means that the character will go and read every book that the disciple can access in healing. There's no micromanagement in the sense that, read this book, read that book.
Also, certain books have, for example,
proficiencies
attached to them, and some of them even have, there we go.
Knowledge, yeah.
Knowledge.
So, speaking of knowledge, everything that is a recipe with crafting recipe, alchemical recipe, cooking recipe, or maybe this is a creature, or maybe this is the name of a disease or a type of injury. Everything is a knowledge, and you have to first open it. So you should know that there is such a thing as the book, and then you should open it, meaning that once you open it, you're able to actually produce those. So that happens in the lab, and in the lab you can see different research trees for each of the skills. Different characters are able to research different knowledges depending on they are on the research tree. You discover new knowledge through books, new knowledge through experimenting. You also discover it by going on adventures in the outside world and then encountering certain things which give you knowledge to research later. Especially this is true for astrology, herbology, and geology, where you cannot discover, let's say, a new type of creature without first encountering that creature. So first they have to meet that creature, and then you're able to research it in the lab. Now, next to the library, you've got an auditorium, which is where you can teach disciples. You choose a teacher, and then you choose the student. That is kind of better than library and not so good in the other. In the good, but one character teacher can teach several disciples at the same time. So unlike scales pretty well. And in the same way, in the library, you can damage books, but in classroom, you cannot damage anything. And
But
also, go ahead.
in the classroom, there's a special effects to teaching someone compared to reading a book, because a teacher can inspire a student to maybe like a skill that they don't like very well at the moment, right?
Or dislike. That's
Dislike, yeah.
We're still tweaking the exact values in this mechanic, but if the teacher has a high charisma and loves the subject, let's say healing, then there is a chance that this teacher can inspire the students to change their interest. And so a student who hated practical magic will end up loving. But it also works the other way around. And if a teacher has a low charisma or a high charisma and a hate certain skill, then that teacher can inspire a disinterest or a hate in a certain subject. You have to be careful about matching different teachers and students. And then we've got the research lab. So research lab, we covered that. We've got the alchemic studio where you concoct items. Let's just show the recipe to explain how that works. So recipes for crafting and concocting do not rely on specific items. They rely on properties. You have alchemic properties and crafting properties, and different items in the world have different properties when you generate the campaign at the very beginning of your campaign. And in this case, to generate this ointment or salve, you need something with property antiseptic and something with property green. What this means is that it can be in a mineral, it can be in an herb, so you're not limited to the specific skill in terms of sourcing it. And this is a way of avoiding very narrow bottlenecks where you have to have the specific item which can only be sourced through a specific skill, so that the game kind of pushes you to do just this one specific thing and you cannot have alternatives successfully completing it. We didn't like that, so we've made this kind of multiple options, which is also making the game more. So here on the map, for example, you see gifts of nature. They have raw food property, and then on the left side you get some kind of a herb that has thistle. Yep. And what kind of properties does it have? It's got irritating and intoxicating. All right.
You can make booze out of this thistle.
Yep. Yeah. So, for example, if you discover the rest villager jewel, federal nectar, then one of the things they need is something with intoxicating property, and there you go. Just get the herb and thing.
Here you see the properties at the bottom of the map, and here you see possible items that you know that have these properties. And as you can see, you don't know everything. You don't know that has properties of precious stone yet or precious metal, and you don't see every item that you have in your uh, vision. Basically, you only have some gifts of nature right now and thistle, but your knowledge says that somewhere there's other types of items that have raw food in it, for example. So you need to go on and explore the map and find these other resources. Yeah.
So finishing off with the rooms, you get artificing. So yeah, alchemic studio is where you can go. Artificing workshop is where you craft items such as bedrolls and backpacks and whatnot. Then you've got a kitchen where you cook food. Food is not necessary. Generally, mage and the disciples will cast a spell, relieve hunger. That's enough. But you can produce food that has positive properties, such as restoring stamina, restoring health, improving mood. And then if you do cook the food, then that food can help your characters in the Spire or travel to be in a better condition. Then you've got healing. So we've got hospital, where you treat people. People can be injured. There's I think 3 different levels of injury and 4 different areas of the body that can be injured, stackable. You've got poisons. Poisons come from being attacked by creatures, and poisons cannot be healed, but you can kind of offset the negative effect of a poison, and then the poison disappears after 20 days. In the current version of the game, you can just remove the poison using antidote, but I think in a couple of weeks we transition to the system where poison lasts for 20 days, and if you've got the antidote, then you can offset the damage and if you don't, then you don't. And then finally, we've got disease happen during events. If you fail a kill check, and if you fail then a stat check, then you're much more likely to catch some sort of a disease in addition to health damage. And to cure disease, you have to go back to the hospital, get a doctor, research the disease, and then have the doctor cure the specific disease for during the kind of a long period. And there's a number of alchemic substances that can accelerate the healing. So if you're good at foraging, if you're good at preparing substances, then you'll be able to heal people super quick. If not, then it'll take. And then finally, we've got the warehouse, and we've got living quarters. So for living quarters, this is where people sleep. If a character doesn't have their own room, then they're sad. This will affect their mood. And then we've got this kind of a character chart that quickly allows you to compare the skills of all the characters in the Spire for cases where you're determining strategy, whether or not you should level up a specific character in this skill or in that skill. Generally, people prefer specialized characters on different skills. It's very unlikely that you level up a character across more than a few skills, because everything takes time to practice and to improve theory. And finally, the last button there up is the list of currently tasks and quests, where you can track what's going on in the Spire and who's doing what kind of assignment. Now, to finish off this quick tutorial, let's go back to the map and assemble a party to go somewhere pretty far away, so that we can take a look at the way that they make decisions. They pass skill checks and they pass stat checks. And while Rita is doing this, I will tell you this, that psychological traits determine the decision, and skill levels determine the success.
Oh,
or
before you do that,
Yep.
I think it's important maybe to assign the quest together with just explain what I'm doing. Because when you assign the quest, you have to assign the leader of the quest and then the rest of the party, because the leader is going to make important decisions and what the party is going to do and what decisions they're going to take. And you also
you influence the behavior by finding who is going to lead the party. If you have a leader who's curious and greedy, then the party will stick their head into everything along the way. And if you
Yeah.
assign someone who's cautious and impatient, then you know that they will be pretty quick about going somewhere and
Yeah.
then.
So I have a person who's curious and greedy, so I'm gonna put her as a leader, and the rest can follow. Then you can assign food and drinks, but as we mentioned before, it's not necessary. It's helpful because it'll get them, for example, more stamina or magic energy, but they
It'll
can cast.
save their magic energy, and then if they get energy and if they have the extra energy, then it means that they can cast more.
Yeah.
So it's a way of like everywhere in the game, magic and equipment as a way to enhance the performance of your characters, and then you can give them equipment. So bedrolls, the personal inventory is coming in a few weeks. Right now, the whole party gets a bunch of equipment, and then the leader decides who's going to use what. In the future, we plan to transition to the system where you'll be able to assign a specific piece of equipment to a specific character and say, well, I'm going to give this bedroll to this person and to this person, but not.
Okay, so I'm giving them bedrolls so they can sleep better. So their sleep is at best levels and that won't affect their stamina and efficiency. Then I gave them bandages that will help with the bleeding. And I also gave them some medications from injuries, from pain, diseases, and poisoning. And that's it. Let's assign the quest.
Yep.
I send them quite far away, and we'll also a quick note.
They'll spend some time. Yeah, they'll spend some time.
A quick
here
note
on the map.
Yeah.
Here on the map we see the character efficiency icon just on the character, so you can see that this is green right now. So mood of the character affects their stats, and the efficiency affects their skill. So what this means is that if they are tired, exhausted, in pain, maybe sick, then the efficiency goes down and they start failing. As we can see here, the party is green. Everything's fine. Probably there's a lake in the middle.
They're trying to pass. Mage just leveled up in practical magic by reading, probably. And sorry, not by reading, by casting all these relieve hunger spells. Also, I just wanted to add that if you can see on the bottom right, there are these 3 buttons: cooking resources, crafting resources, and alchemic resources. You can turn them off and on, and you can see that the resource sort of disappears and appears. So you can turn off stuff that you don't like on the map. It'll just make your life easier, because at some point you'll get a lot of resources that you will maybe want to. Oh, we have a new disciple. So there you go. You can look at their biography and sort of guess what kind of disciple this is. Our colleague Sergey, another Sergey, is very good because at predicting character skills when it comes to biography. Because
he's the guy who he's the one. Yes,
he wrote the stuff.
So there's no surprise. Okay, let's go back to the quest report. We need to go through the checks.
I accepted the character.
Can we see the expedition where it is on the screen?
Oh, they're red.
Yeah, so look, her efficiency, the group's efficiency is low. That means that they took.
Yeah, they took a beating. Let's see. Okay, so at the start.
So hold on a second. So looking at, see that the mood is bad. One of them has pain. One of them is sick. One of them is exhausted. And one of them is tired. And the other one is also having pain. Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Okay, let's go back to our. There we
let's
go.
See
so
what happened.
I've completed a quest, so I can find them in completed quests. There you go. We press on it and we can read the report. So they used some magic to relieve hunger. They found a habitat of Tasluks. They found a resource of wood, meat, and dwelling of earls. And there we go. They found some earls and they decided to observe them.
So let's take a look at the trade. The trade check defines the decision First of all, you could circumvent. Could you show us circumvent?
Yeah.
Yep, but she's curious. She doesn't want to circumvent unknown non-human. For observe, curious actually motivates her to do this, and attacking is probably
Greedy.
interesting because she's also greedy. And
Yeah.
talking, like she's impatient or what?
It doesn't
No.
say.
Okay.
Talking
she-
is when you're compassionate. This is what
Okay.
talking happens, yeah.
Okay. You're like, hello, Oodle, Mr. Oodle.
Yeah.
How's
So
your...
she makes a decision and then she pushes this dude to observe basically.
Well,
So,
he's good. I mean, he's
yeah.
stealthy. So the second thing that happens is a skill check for the specific. In this way, to observe these non-humans, he needs stealth. His theory and practice in travel magic is 2, and the skill check is at 1. So he passes it to flying colors, and his efficiency is normal. So it doesn't give him a penalty and doesn't give him a... And the result of this is that he's got a bunch of experience, theoretical and practical, and he leveled up
Yep.
in astrology. So
Woo.
that's pretty useful, and then he spent 6 hours on this. Okay, let's go on.
6 hours just sitting in the bushes. We found resource thistle again, gifts of nature, wild pepper.
Let's just go on to events so we can see how stat checks work.
Okay, there you go. Storm.
Whether or not she wants to seek shelter or continue
Yeah. He
onward,
finds shelter.
everything's great. Yep.
Oh, there you go. Bloodsuckers.
All right. So look at this. There is Bloodsucker, and she's performing a skill check whether or not she can avoid. She's got 1 in theory in astrology, but this is a level 2 check, so it says doomed to fail if her theory is below the level of the skill check. Now, once she fails, we determine the consequences. Now we perform a stat check. Now here with the stat check, she's at 14, and the check is at 12, and she's guaranteed to succeed. And her mood was all right at that time, so it didn't really affect it negative. And she only gets dull pain. If she would fail the stat check, she would get probably sharp pain or maybe even catch a disease.
Yeah. So we got a new knowledge that is available for us to learn. So you'll find it in the laboratory.
In the lab. Yeah. As you encounter different things in the outside, accumulate open different knowledges that you can then fully...
So same happens to the rest of the team. Everyone fails their
but let's
astrology.
take a look at this stat check. 9 12, right? 9 against 12 doesn't mean that you will fail. You're more likely to fail, but we
Yeah.
still roll the, and you can still have a chance of passing it, which is what happens here. But
Yeah.
if your level is equal or exceeding the level of the check, then it's 100% successful. We don't want to, have someone roll the dice when they're 10 to 10.
Okay. Next, we found a hidden cache. Good for him.
But we
found
did find, but yeah. But look here. What happens is that there is a skill check, uncover what is hidden, which is level 2, and the character is happily passing it. But look, his efficiency is normal, but it's affected by dull pain, but it has a bonus from his strong willpower. So he still has a high chance of success, and he passes. If he would not have a high willpower, then he would have a higher chance of failure. Now, we do a stat check for his intuition. He has a high chance of success, but it's still not 10 to 10, it's 9 to 10. So he had a little chance of failure, and he failed. And so he finds 1 book.
Maybe
if the
there's
stat
more.
Check, if the stat check will be successful, find a better, find more items.
More, yeah. And he only found 1. Well, good. Book on literacy. Next, Gifts of Nature Cave. Caves are great to explore and find loot. And there we go. We found a corpse. And our curious leader decides to investigate. And she could have buried it. She could have ignored and move on. and she could have looted it if she was greedy. But again, her curiosity
To
just
cover
made her.
the greed. Yep.
Yeah.
And so she decides that she'll be the person who will do it the best. She performs disinfection and she's successful. That's a level 0 check, and she's 2 and 1 in this skill, so she's successful. She spends 4 hours of time and she gets a bunch of experience and healing, which is
Yeah.
always all
Okay.
right.
So let's
Let's
just
see a couple
quickly
more
go
events and then
and wrap up. Yeah. Okay, there was a snake, but maybe we see something
another
more
corpse. She
interesting.
again investigates another snake.
Yeah.
There's a couple of there's more.
Okay, we can
more.
tell me when to stop if you want to stop at something. Oh, that's it. Okay.
That was a long expedition, and that brought back some diseases and some injuries. So what's going to happen right now in a to the hospital, and you'll research the disease, and then you'll assign a doctor to heal that disease. So basically, if you're just starting to play the game, the important thing is to know all the rooms and what you can do in each of the rooms, to understand stamina, health points, and magic energy. And the fact that once you run out of magic energy, start burning health points, get more magic energy. To understand that you don't really micromanage the game, so you don't assign a specific book to read. Instead, you say, please read about skill, whatever you can read. In the same way, you don't say, hey, you eat this or drink this, but you make food and drink available as well as chemical substances on the warehouse. And then when characters need that, then they go and consume it in the next couple of weeks, maybe more. We're looking to introduce a system of permissions, which will allow you to unlock specific items and disallow some characters from, using them. And then you just, do research and craft and concoct in the Spire, and that also serves port base as you heal the sea and you explore the world and you try to find the anomaly and try to locate the librarian and then the event that is waiting for you there, so that you can access the actual anomaly. So you explore, you try to equip your parties, you manage their behavior by choosing a particular party leader, and you learn magic to help you pass skill check. You produce equipment for the same reason, and you prepare alchemic substances again for the same reasons. If you have a combat, then you may escape the combat by using, for example, smoke, or you can use fireball from battle magic to cause damage, or you can use a dagger to attack physically, or let's say a bow and arrows. And all of that basically feeds into the skill check, and then you pass the stat check, which defines the scale of the combat. And that's how you experience this game.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching.
Bearing with us.
Yeah. Going through this. Hopefully, next stream won't be as buggy with so many technical problems. So we're really sorry about that.
In a couple of weeks, we'll be sitting together in studio in Vilnius, using the fancy, high-quality mics and doing everything we want.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Yes.
Yep. And if you have any questions about any of the mechanics, then you can go to the forum, where there's a bunch of discussions happening in different languages, including English, of different mechanics. You can also post any questions you have here on YouTube video, or go to the Discord server that it currently has. I think definitely over 4,000 players, but closer to 4.2 or something. And in a couple of weeks, hopefully, we'll have games you'll be able to look at in the game. And right now, if you need some information in the game, then you can go to the encyclopedia. The next update is coming this week, at the end of this week, and it will introduce also a bunch of tooltips and descriptions right in.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. See you next week, and goodbye.
All right.